The subject is based on the developmental state of my mind. Okay. 2002, I was incarcerated. I was 18 years old. Got locked up for robbery and simple burglary. Not because I was a criminal. Not because I was just a badass motherfucker and I was just doing badass shit. I was on the street. I couldn't find a job. I didn't know how to present myself. And I kind of find myself in a similar situation as far as my social skills are deficient, for lack of a better word. Well, get locked up when I'm 18. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? How can they just lock me up like this? And I'm pacing in the cell with this other dude who's like, why is this dude pacing around in the cell? So I'm just pacing around and I'm like, what the fuck? How can they fucking just do this to me? Lock me up. I mean, well, over time you learn to sit down, read a book, and bide your time, because there's nothing much you can do. So I accepted the fact that I was locked up. So over the course of 9 years and 8 months, after being transferred numerous times to different facilities, different dormitories, Thunderdomes, and relatively good dorms that are not violent, you learn how to cope, you learn how to survive within those circumstances. Well, learn how to mind my own business, sit on my bunk, read books, and stay out of people's way until somebody brought trouble, and I let them know that, okay, well, we can catch the cut, fight, win or lose. And I have to say that fear is predominant in those facilities, and the majority of actions by other people is based on fear, to prove themselves and to gain stripes or whatever. They're just dumb, a lot of them, and it's not their fault. But there's many wise people and smart people in there, and I've learned a lot. But I found out that out here, you know, it's very, very different, but very, very similar. And out here, people don't want to hear me talk about me being incarcerated. And like they have this pride and vanity thing about, you know, like, well, why you keep talking about that? Because that's all I know, dummy. That's all I fucking know. I've been locked up all my fucking life. Even before prison, incarcerated, group homes. It's just a it's a pre-prison. I mean, that's what it is. Controlled environments. I mean, a lot of people go through this shit where they're submitted to being controlled. They're conditioned. They're prepared to go to prison. And it can retard a person's progress. By retard, I mean stifle. Stifle a person's psychological, spiritual, emotional development. But there's a good aspect to it, a positive way of looking at it, that even though it stifles you, it can enhance you. Because I see out here that people have developed in a certain way that is similar to prison, but their prison is in the mind. And I have to say that I know a lot about that myself. But people out here, they're hard to step outside the boundaries of their own education, to see beyond what they have learned, to see beyond that. It's hard for them to unlearn, to learn something else so they can coexist with people and cooperate with people on an equal basis without the unconscious, subtle arrogance of I'm better than you type mentalities. And, how can people really coexist? How can people really get along with each other on a mutual basis? Well, we're all human and imperfect. Well, that can be an excuse. Okay, how many times I heard that shit? Alright? I mean, really. Let me get back to when I was locked up in prison. I learned how to sit on my bunk and read books and stay out of people's way because I wanted people out of my way. So I learned how to live a life of the mind. And after 9 years and 8 months, practically a decade, living the life of living the life of the mind, it becomes so habituated that it's hard to shake. And out here, when you live in your mind and it's hard to shake, it conflicts with you and your reality. I found myself zoning out. I was diagnosed with PTSD and I have no help. They try to put me on medication from Jefferson Parish Mental Health to Shreveport Mental Health, and back here it's like I've given up on that. They just want to put you on medication and say how understaffed they are, and there's a lot of them who really can't relate, and if they can, some of them just don't really give a fuck. So you got to help yourself. But I don't know, like biblically, it's like confess your sins to God, pray to God in secret. You pray to God. I pray to God all the time. And maybe that's why I'm still alive. Maybe that helps me. But it hurts me that I can't really speak to anybody without a person interjecting in a way that proves that they're not listening to anything I'm fucking saying. And it's like, period. What else can I fucking say? But let me just relate. When I was in prison, I started writing shit. And I got so caught up in the life of the mind that I was actually creating my own worldview based on what I've read, based on eclecticism, the methodical process of developing something based on eclecticism. Your ability to take from different sources and throw the rest in the garbage, and throw it away. But looking back in retrospect, it's really impractical and quixotic. But it's interesting, all the same. It's really interesting. But it's really, a lot of it I don't even agree with anymore. But it's all building material for something I can write in the future. But I wonder, When will I find that peace of mind? And when can I buy the time which would result in a peace of mind, not worrying about certain responsibilities? Well, God, pray to God to help you. Like right now, I'm without a job, going to labor finders, working the night shift at Walmart, and I don't know if that's going to be available come Monday, so I can only hope for the best. I might get kicked out of my apartment, live in my car, go to Bourbon Street, try to play the guitar. I don't know. But all that is stress, shit that I gotta deal with. But oh well, who gives a fuck? It's cool. I'm alright with that, whatever. But I can't help but think about shit. And for a time, I've been biting my tongue and not really expressing myself. Like you have writer's block, you also have speaker's block. When speaker's block comes in, but there's something right there in your heart, right here, that wants to express itself, but sometimes the mind doesn't know what the fuck the heart's trying to say. And then if you try to use your mind to speak about something and your heart's not in it, you're just speaking bullshit. To take time to speak about something important to you. But who has time to listen? Who has time to listen, especially when people judge by the superficiality, the superficial aspects of how one delivers one's speech or how one speaks? Whether they have a monotone or they speak in a way that is not as proper, or maybe you speak vulgarly. But how can all these superficial aspects interfere with the inner meaning of what the fuck you're talking about? We're just talking. I entertained racism at one time. That's one thing that I used to write about when I was incarcerated. And I studied all kind of things, from Nazism to communism, Karl Marx, different individuals, so-called intellectual giants. You research what they're talking about, then you find out that they're imperfect, and then you hear other people quote this person and this person, and you done read this person comprehensively, like Friedrich Nietzsche, for instance. And I guess that's what King Solomon said, the more you come to know, the more pain. What did that mean? That's in Ecclesiastes. What does that mean? Oh, I realize the more you know, and the more you hear someone speaking about a certain subject that you know more about, that you know because you read it, and you see where a person's coming from. It's based on a summary or a synopsis, or what someone else said. It's incomplete and based on a certain agenda, based on ideology that had nothing to do with that person's overall viewpoint, just for example. So you see this here and there, and it's like, well, what the fuck? Pain. I understand what King Solomon was saying. I really do. And out here I see that a lot of things are based on money, what you have, what you can achieve or have achieved in this world. And those are important things. Don't get me wrong. But if that's the basis of being accepted, I think that's fucked up. Because it should be the other way around. You should be accepted for who you are and encouraged and given hope. See, when money becomes the basis of all action and interaction, something's wrong. Something's very wrong. I'm not perfect, and I'm not using that as a crutch. I ain't saying I've always been right, but I'm going to relate this. I get out April 27th, 2012. I got out of prison. I was shell-shocked. I'm looking everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to take everything in. It just seems the world doesn't stop for you. The world does not stop for you. The world is going at a rate faster than you have gone before, and it's like, damn, am I Down syndrome or something? What the fuck is going on here? Everything's so fast. I've been out 2 years and counting, and I'm just now kind of, picking up the speed after, being locked up approximately a decade. But at the same time, I'm still not at one accord, and that's either a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, because I just don't agree with everything that's going on, nor does everybody, nor does a lot of people, I should say. I'm sure some, you got the robots who defend every single thing, because they want to do the right thing, and the right thing is what the status quo is, and I'm like, okay, man, like, alright, I hear you, okay. But, many people disagree with many things, and that's why there's politics. But another thing, politics is very, very entrenched in bullshit, because I smell it. It's just it's just dumb. It's like, come on, you actually think I'm believing what the fuck you're talking about? And people just go with it. I'm a Republican. Man, I'm a Democrat. Get your fucking ass out of my face. I mean, just like when the Tea Party first started, it was not a quote-unquote racist party like the media put it to be. A Hispanic woman had a sign that said, "Elephants and asses screwing the masses." Well, anybody with common sense knows what that means, man. Republicans and Democrats are screwing you. It's a theatrical system, not just a two-party system, these terms that people use in propaganda, whether it be for good or woe, depending on who's doing the talking or the writing. But it's theatrics. I mean, think about it. The Greeks, the Babylonians, these ancient civilizations had theater back then, just like we have movies now. It's just a step forward to theater and the plays. It's just a different format. That's what politics is. It's theatrics. You're watching a fucking movie, and you're just repeating the words of some actor, Republican or Democrat. Just like people watching a movie and they want to, kind of adapt or adopt certain phrases from a certain actor because they want that swag. Get the fuck out of my face. Yeah, I'm a little pessimistic. I don't want to be. I want to be optimistic. I want to be gun-ho, or gung-ho, or however you say that shit. I want to be like, yes. You know, like happy, joy. I want to feel good. You know? But why can't I? Who said I can't? Okay, no. But today's is Saturday night, or well, technically Sunday morning, early in the morning. So I want to go to church later on today. For the first time in a long time, I want to go to church. What has prevented me from going to church is, again, let's get back to when I was incarcerated. I used to go to church call and, go to prayer call. Because, when I first got locked up, I'm like, God, I don't want to be here. Help me out of this motherfucker. So, it didn't happen. I was in there. I was stuck, like Chuck. So, I went to prayer call and everything was good. I meant well. I read the Bible. I even studied, went to Muslim classes and studied with them. And no, I'm not a Muslim. Don't get it twisted. I studied with all kind of people. Atheists, you hear. And you ear hustle, so to speak. That's a term. Ear hustle. You hear shit. People talk about this and that, own opinions or what they read or what they believe in, what they cling to, all kind of shit. So I got all kind of knowledge in my, I guess, like Tech Nine said, clusterfuck. It's the same thing. It's like a clusterfuck. But that's eclecticism. But beyond all that cultural baggage, I believe in God, and God is beyond mere words and images. Just like the Bible says, don't worship idols. Well, words and even language can be an idol if you cling to it more than an inner meaning. That's why I don't agree with Muslims when they talk about Arabic is the language of God, or Jews saying Hebrew is the language of God. But if you study etymology, you find out that Arabic or Hebrew was not the first language spoken, but something developed and evolved off some other prototypical language. Therefore, that's, a erroneous belief that makes people cling to a cultural trapping that prevents people from knowing the essence of something spiritual. They're clinging to what you see in the three-dimensional world, or what you hear, like words. I used to talk about the esoteric meaning of the black sun. People are like, oh, what is that? Is that devil worship? It's just another meaning for the spirit. But again, it's cultural baggage. It's irrelevant. And if people can't understand it, but they cling to their own cultural baggages. What is it? Over time and time and time and time again, I used to explain myself, and people would never truly understand what I was talking about. Like, you talk to them 3 times over, then like the 4th time you talk to them, it's like, oh well, whoa. The way you're talking to me now proves that you did not comprehend anything I said in the last 3 conversations we had. When you deal with that over and over again, you just don't want to talk anymore. You're just walking like a zombie. It's like, why? But, that's irrelevant, right? Who cares? I mean, you can cooperate with people. You can coexist, right, without really getting into that. Certain people are going to be dogmatic. They're going to be very adamant in certain things, and they will go against you, tooth and nail, knife or gun, about, what they believe in, and what they believe in might be just idiotic. It might just be, idiocy. You know? And some might think the same about me. Like, what's up with that black sun stuff? And if they connect the dots with certain propaganda about the black sun, then they would associate me with this over here or that over there that I don't agree with because he used that symbol for this and I don't use it for that because I'm more into the ancient, archaic, esoteric meaning, dealing with alchemy and spiritual understandings, and they're going more with the socio-political views that people used it for, and then they put me in a pigeonhole. So maybe I fucked up and maybe I shouldn't even dealt with symbolism. That's what I'm talking about. Symbolism is superficial, meaning the surface. I need to find another way to express myself beyond mere symbols or certain examples that is tainted. Exactly. But I have moved it. I moved from that. I ain't gonna lie, I have certain tattoos and it's like I'm self-conscious. I'm so self-conscious. You walk outside and talk to people and people just assume, oh, he's part of this or part of that. And then you get to talking to other people and talking to other people. Who knows? People over here probably think I'm, fucking neo-Nazi, crazy person, whatever, the propaganda shit. It's like, I'm truly not with that shit. But what does a person really know? It's like Martin Luther King said, don't judge a person by the color of their skin, but the character of their heart. But believe me, people will judge me by what's tattooed on my skin. They don't know anything about me. That's called preconceived notions. Preconceived notions. And if someone clings to those preconceived notions to an extreme degree, you can speak for hours and hours trying to explain where you come from, explain yourself, your psychological development, your circumstances, and try to relate with people, and you listen to them and hear their story. And like me, I got a swastika. I'm just, let's look at that. Look at that. Where is it at? Where is it? Where is the motherfucker? There it is. There it is. Okay. Swastika tattooed on my skin. I think it looks cool. I think it looks not cool, like cool. I think, it's nice. It's an artistic symbol that's prehistoric. It predates Nazism. It predates many things. It predates the migrations of certain people into the Indus Valley who brought that symbol there, whatever color they were. It's irrelevant to me. But what do people, when they see that, it's like, oh no, he's racist. Oh, I did entertain the notion of racism as an ism. I've done studied it. I've done studied writings from eugenicists from 1920 something, from a book from 1916, Madison Grant. But I studied all kind of shit, so I know different views from then. Anthropology, that was anthropology back then, which is very different from now. But what does that mean? What was I searching for? Meaning? When a person has no guidance and they look in the mirror, and in my case, I'm a white person, and I got light-colored eyes. So, I mean, do I have a basis? Do I have roots? And you grow up, in my case, a minority within a minority, yet you represented a majority in the eyes of those who surrounded you all your life. So you studied and you were, certain knowledge of Black Pride and Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan, and different people. Naim Akbar, Know Thyself, which was a good book. And you understand this knowledge. And if you're an open-minded person, you'll see shit in there that's true. You're like, okay, I understand that. Then you'll see other stuff that's part of a cultural bias based on Afrocentrist, centered in an area of bias. So I used to study, Nazism and, Hitler's Mein Kampf and see truth, but also see bias. So you see it everywhere. You see truth and you see bullshit from different cultures, different colors, different languages. Transliterated into English, of course, because that's all I can speak or read. But not everybody, and when I say not everybody, most people don't think comprehensively like that. They're stuck in an area of ideology that maintains a semblance of normality, and that's what they base their life on. And if you enter the realm of that normality and bring in something different, you are considered a bad apple. You are considered liability, or what are you considered? I've been considered all kind of shit. I've been considered emotionally compromised because I say certain things in reference to other people's that are not my persuasion that I agree with, and you hear bias spoken by your own people about other people. And then I've heard bias by, black people or Hispanic people about my people. And it's all over the board. But you try to be fair, you try to be universal. You try to look past double standards everywhere. And you try to see what equality is, truly, in essence, as a potentiality. As equality as far as coexistence, cooperation, of dealing with people, mutual respect, but also deep respect for many people, but also a distrust for many people, your color or another color. It's based on individuality. And that's it. Individuality. Individuals. Individual minds. Individual hearts. What do they know? What do they feel? What has been their experience? What do they know based on their experience? Well, I've learned from many people. And sometimes learning, it could uplift you. But if you let it, it could cripple you. It can bring you down. It's like that, like I remember seeing, what was that new movie, Indiana Jones movie, where that woman she wanted to see knowledge and everything, but she seen too much and she became blind. I mean, that's a metaphor of a real scenario. The more you know, if you can't handle it, you can go insane. You can lose your mind. I could quote Nietzsche on that, but let me just quote King Solomon on that. Proverbs. It's in there. But after everything I'm talking about, or what I've been through, or what I feel and what I see, this is what's crucial. For most people, all this, what I'm talking about, is a pastime and it's not relevant. Most of the time, what is relevant is how much money they have, if they're paying their bills on time and everything, because it's necessary. That's what I'm dealing with. But, it's like you go to church. You go to church and they say, you got to take time out for God. I think about that. Take time out for God. And when you take time out for God, the Spirit, and you meditate on His Word, and He puts something on your heart, and what's on your heart is on your heart, and you speak it. And from experience, it has interfered with interacting with people. It really has. Especially when you talk about the realm of politics. And you'll hear people when they say, well, God has nothing to do with politics. I'm going to have to agree but disagree. What I mean by that is, politics, as it is known, is not of God. But what it's supposed to be for, what it's supposed to be about, is the public realm, the cooperation of people together, like the social contract. That is relevant to all people. If you evade politics, not what you see on TV, if you refuse to use your own mind to compare what you read or what you see on TV, what you hear from what's going on around you, how can you, they talk about voting. My opinion on voting is, come on, is that really going to do something? Oh, the person I want to vote for, he's not even running for, he's not even running. So, all the candidates is futile, it seems, right? And that could be another excuse. When you become an activist, which I'm not as of yet, an activist, like a peaceful activist, cooperating in the community. You got local politics, then national politics, and then some go internationally. But I'm focused on American politics beyond the bullshit. When I open the front door and I'm going to work, I've had opportunities. I've had an opportunity. Then I found another opportunity which wasn't nothing. But many people have nothing. Many people I see out here struggling, and they have to live with each other and ride a bike at the same time just to have shelter. So that's something I'm probably going to have to deal with in the future. Staying to myself. I might just sleep in the car and pay my car insurance, and save up some money and get me another apartment somewhere if I can't save this one. But I don't know. Have faith in God, That's what I feel. It's like you go through so much shit. It's like things that happen to you, it's like it's no surprise. You try to learn from it. But that's another thing about being incarcerated that I have worked hard to counter and to conquer. Because many people, when they do a lot of time, whether they know it or not, the majority of people, that's why the recidivism rate is so high, they become a slave. A slave mentality. I understand that. You know, it's like you accept it even though you don't accept it. And it's a paradox. It's like in your mind and even in your words you say, fuck that. But if you're accustomed to being incarcerated, locked up, if you're accustomed to having to rack up, meaning go sit on your bunk when the guards come in for counts, rack up. They're bringing in the lunch cart, you know, certain satellite facilities who they don't got a cafeteria there, they bring the chow to you. You know, it's like that's what you're used to. You're used to being told what to do. They encourage you not to use your mind. They encourage you to be stupid. They encourage you to not think ahead. They encourage you to be dumbfounded. They encourage you to be a zombie. So many people, when they come out here in this world, they don't know the skills of this world. Oh, many do. They know certain skills. And they learn. Like, I'm out here 2 years. I'm learning a lot. And I can potentially learn this or that. Whatever this and that is. Working is something that is necessary. It's my only option. To work and make money and hope for the best. To save money. I mean, I got a bank account. I got $40-something in there now. You know, in the next couple of months, I got to have $300, or else they're going to charge me, what, $8 and something as a fee, unless I have $300. So my question to myself is, what the fuck? How am I going to pay rent, pay car insurance, catch up on that, and I'm making $50 a night, which is good, it's okay. But, you know, I don't know if I have that Monday. And really how I've observed certain things, I don't think I do. So I have to really anticipate and prepare myself for the worst case scenario that Monday I have no job. So what do? I put it in God's hands, but also I'm just going to have to get out there and try to find something, or go to labor finders and early in the morning and hope they got some other job. But I know, even if I had the job at Walmart still, every night it still would not be enough to meet my goal. So I think about other people. Some people might encourage me, why think about other people? Well, I thought that's what God wants us to think about, other people. I mean, well, so I think about other people, and like, damn, I mean, that's what they go through. And then they have kids, and I mean, that's why you got 4 or 5 to 10 people living in one 2-bedroom apartment. You know what I mean? And each of them has a job, or they're doing something, or someone's sleeping on the couch doing nothing. So I mean, I don't know. It's like things have to change. But how? In what way? That's why I understand and I have come to terms, based on individualism, an individual merit and determination on doing something and being part of something, not just for money's sake. To me, that's secondary. But meaningful work based on a cooperation on something meaningful, that's ideal. But of course, God help me with my pessimism, because my pessimism says, fuck them. Fuck everybody. But I don't mean that. That's anger, saying things I don't mean. That's frustration, irritation of circumstances, or there's good people out there. And I look at myself. I do look at myself. But I understand that people judge me. And it has been a human instinct. I'm sure I've judged people. But sometimes it could make a person bitter. When a person judges you, and it's like, where's that coming from? It's like, where's that coming from? Okay, my problem is I can't smile. Well, let me stop saying can't. Listen to what I'm saying. I have a strong disposition, a no-nonsense type of seriousness, and I've tried to be comical, and people look at me like, okay, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I was trying to be funny. People take me serious, and that can be crazy, can seem crazy. Judge me by my eyes. And I think, like in the Bible, it says there are 6, no, there are 7 things God hates. God hates? Well, one of them is a proud look. I have been accused of a proud look, and sometimes most of the time when I go in public, I'm so self-conscious because I don't want people to accuse me of having a proud look or attitude problem that people think like, is he on drugs? So it's like, damn, I just can't win. That's the thing about that. Either someone's going to think you have a proud look, or you have like the motherfuckers who do have something on their chest and something to prove. They'll be like, he must think he's a bad motherfucker. Like that commercial with the dude with the eye patch. Oh my God. Like when I was locked up, I had to catch the cut a few times because I'm reading a book and people ask me a question and I answer in such a way that they feel offended because their pride and their vanity got in the way, and have to catch the cut because someone's judging me based on some dumb shit when they could have just kept the fuck out of my face and let me read my book. And then I get out here and deal with similar things. People think I have an attitude problem, or they misunderstand my tone of voice. Kind of like the Starburst commercial. Oh my God. Exasperation, size, coping mechanisms, What is it? It's like, God, is this for a purpose that I got to go through this and be judged in a certain way? I can't just hate myself and have this guilt trip about myself and feel guilty because a person thinks I have an attitude problem, because I don't talk right, or don't look right, or don't walk right. That's superficial and childish and, forgive me, but stupid. And so how can I be? How can I be essentially me? And, ease myself in the interaction of others. You know what I mean? Like a fish in a bag that you place in the aquarium But you just can't take the fish out the bag right away because the water has to adapt. You know, I had to adapt, and guess what? After 2 years and counting, I'm still adapting. And if people are impatient about that, then God help me. God, show me strength. Show me comfort and warmth when it is cold, when it is raining. Just help me get by. Help me find peace of mind. Put me where I'm supposed to be. You know. That's all I can say. I have unlearned to learn. You know. I see differently. I mean, if anybody out there bases their understanding of me of what I wrote in the past, or how I talked in the past, describing certain ideologies when I was searching, throw that shit in the garbage. Because none of that shit has nothing to do with me. Simply put. I'm just trying to live my life. I want peace. I do deal with things. It's not an excuse. Deal. The word deal is the key. To deal with your problems. And to deal with your problems, you must first know that you have a problem. But there are people out there, they don't want to hear about your problems. But in the Bible it says, confess your problems to people. Like God, I do that. You confess your problems, say like, you go to someone you care about and you say, I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I believe in mind over matter. But if you deal with a diagnosis like that, which is an umbrella diagnosis that incorporates many different diagnoses, you're dealing with things, and it's based on your experience, not genetics. It's based on where you've been. And one aspect of PTSD is battle fatigue. I mean, something like that can be a chronic illness. And you know what? I haven't had adequate professional help since I've been out here. Well, hey, that's why I feel veterans that go to war and see similar things I've seen in prison. They come over here and they're neglected by their own government and they're fighting for the government. You know, I tell people, like, I can only imagine, I don't know. I've never been over there, but I assume, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but I assume that many of these people, they're fighting with somebody. You know, in prison, it's like everybody for themselves, and that's fucked up. To me, that's worse. You know, and people that haven't been overseas or prison feel they have the right to judge me or anybody who has been somewhere they haven't been. They feel the right to say, oh, how can you have PTSD? You haven't been to war. You haven't been over there to Iraq. Oh, no, I haven't. I mean, if I was like that dude on Scrooge and I could take you to the past where I was, I'll let you agree with me and just let you see what I've seen. I mean, from 2 different cities since I've been out. I wanted help. And all they have is 45 minutes to an hour. And they're thinking about the next person they're going to talk to, so they're not really fully attentive. And they really are not capable of helping you help yourself, or setting down certain guidelines, or helping you remember certain things for yourself to keep you on a certain regimen to maintain out here in this world. I didn't have none of that. They just want to put me on Abilify. Fuck medication. Fuck medication. I want true help. And I guess God is the only person who can help me, because no one has time. Either they got something to say, and then that's not really part of anything. It's based on, well, let me say this so I can get going to where I gotta go, or money. And those are not solutions. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just, being honest. Those are not solutions. Solutions are based on love. I never really had love. In fact, I've been afraid of it, and I ran from it. Oh, there's people that try to show me love. And I have to say that I'm sorry that I could not accept the love you tried to give me when I was young, when I was in a group home, and you took me out of the group home, and different people, individuals. But patience is a rarity. But I guess I have to be patient with myself. And they say God is all loving and patient. And that's who I talk to. Sometimes I talk to him indirectly. It's like I'm talking to God right now. The kingdom of heaven is within you. God is within us all. To see God in you is to see God in me. But if we differ, what does that mean? If we differ in opinions about each other, what does that really mean? What does that entail? Suspicion and mistrust. It's because we are half God and half human. God is in us, but we're not always conscious of God. I'm not always conscious of God. To confess your sins, but not only sins, but conditions. Some people can consider conditions as a sin, which is not right. That's erroneous. If a person deals with inner obstacles, and for other people to demonize that person, that's not right. If I deal with this PTSD that involves many things, paranoia, anxiety disorder, schizophrenia is labeled in PTSD, but I don't see shit. So, I'm sure there's people worse off than me. Because, I don't see shit or hear shit. But I do have paranoid thoughts. You know, growing up how I grew up, I always had to be on my toes. And that's fear. Not cowardice, fear, but awareness, fear. Like I said before, many people in prison or controlled environments is based in fear. You're always worried about what's going to happen. You can't concentrate. You can't focus on something because you're afraid someone's going to sneak you, because there's a lot of evil in this world around where I grew up. Not everybody, but a lot of people, that's how they grow up, and they feel like that's what they have to do. And rest assured, if that's how people feel and that's how they live their life, and you're within that, you know, like Stevie Ray Vaughan said, caught in the crossfire, you gotta live up to that. You know? I got laid off from work because I was showing up late, and maybe I wasn't working as he thought, because I really couldn't concentrate, but I'm walking and I'm trying, you know, I'm dealing with it. Waking up in the morning, though, is like, I gotta meditate before I go outside. So I'm paranoid. I deal with paranoia. Is that a sin? Does that mean I'm a bad person? Does that mean I'm not worth shit? I don't think. I mean, there's a lot of people I see that there's an individual that was at work and how he spoke to me, and full of pride and arrogance, and held his head up, and I didn't pay him any attention, but he paid me attention. And it gave me anxiety. It made me worry. It made me worry about myself and about him. It made me worry. And I see that out here, there's a lot of people, they just feel comfortable with things, and that's good. I wish I could feel comfortable. But apparently, some of these people haven't been through what I've been through. If they did, their whole, not just their outlook, but their actions and how they carry themselves would be dramatically different. When you live in extreme conditions, most people that go through that, old school people, you become old school. You mind your business. You don't talk much, because talking can get you fucked up. You stay to yourself. You stay on your toes. You wake up. You lace up. You try to respect people because you want people to respect you, and then those knucklehead motherfuckers that are walking around at too much pride, you have foresight, going, okay, well, let me walk over here because he's going to walk this way, and then I'm going to feel played, and, so you be a wise man. So I try to do this out here, but I have flashbacks with certain people that have this certain bravado, that this energy and this coming around me, and it gives me anxiety. It feels like I got to defend myself. I start thinking about all kind of bullshit. I just anticipate shit because it's based on habit. But who cares about that, right? God cares about that. God cares about that. I go outside, I go to work, I did a labor finder thing. I stay strong. Like when I was at Walmart, working night shifts, I heard this girl saying, "Ooh, that white boy's crazy." And it's like, what is it that they see? I mean, it's like I'm doing my job. I'm doing what they tell me to do. I took the pallet jack, and what? I mean, what? Because they notice that I'm paranoid looking, and I'm walking around, and I got anxiety, and I'm holding it in, but I gotta do what I gotta do. But part of me just wants to run out this door to my car and breathe in. Because I'm in closed doors. But what else can I do? I gotta pay rent. I gotta do something. And mental health, the state, mental health areas, I mean, what are they gonna do? So I just put it in God's hands, I'm gonna get some sleep. And I'm gonna try to buck myself up to go to church tomorrow morning. I will. This morning. Alright, so God bless everybody, and I pray, but y'all pray for me and help me through prayer, whether you know me or not. Pray to God to help me and to help others that are in the same situation.